Okay, so let's get started. Good morning, everyone. Thanks a lot for joining on time for this fifth session in the series that we've been running around BTP ambassadors. Today, we have a very interesting topic that we are going to cover, and this is something that is close to the heart of almost every CIO and every business leader that we can think of, which is about driving value from data. We live in a world where data is all around us and is generated at a much faster clip as every day as we go along. The pace of generation of new sorts of data is only going up. And not just that, it is also kind of, becoming more and more imperative for people to kind of, not just get lost in the data, but to be able to figure out the data in the context in which data is created, and therefore able to drive insight from the data, and from that insight, drive action, and from that action, derive value. So that's what we're going to cover today, which is data to value, and how BTP components, for example, like DataSphere, like SAP Analytics Cloud and HANA Cloud, can actually help you not only make sense of the data, but also to be able to drive value from the data that you already have in your organization within your walls, and also from all the data that you're getting from outside of your SAP systems, from outside of your enterprise walls as well. So that's the context for today. I know this is going to be an exciting 90 minutes that we're going to have. So with that, I would like to invite Jitendra from SAP BTP team to quickly introduce yourself and take it away, please.
Thanks, Mukesh. Can you hear me?
Yes, Jitendra, we can hear you.
Hi, everyone. Very good morning. I'm Jitendra, and I'm from SAP Analytics Cloud Product Management. I've been with SAP since 2005, working in different roles. So let me share my screen, and then we can start off. Please confirm if you're able to see my screen.
It's coming up, Jitendra. And before we get started, I think ground rule, at any point in time, if anyone has any question or a comment or a thought, please use the chat box to post it there, so that either the speaker questions that come up. Over to you, Jitendra.
All right, thank you. So for today's SAP BTP Data to Value session, we have three speakers, Jitendra, myself, Abdul, and Amit. Let me start off, and then I will hand over to Abdul later on. So this is a small disclaimer about whatever content we are showing in today's session, because some of them might contain features that are not yet released to customers, and their lab preview or whatever internal to SAP. So first and foremost, let's look at the different customer challenges. So historically, we have a lot of on-premise solutions, and now you know that we have a lot of cloud solutions in the market, and it's very easy for each and every customer to just subscribe to these cloud solutions and get the advantage of that particular solution in isolation. But let's say if we are looking at the enterprise use cases where you would have to combine different cloud and on-premise source, that is where the challenge comes in, especially when you have smaller multi-cloud solutions and multiple cloud solutions, right? In this diagram, you can see that we have not just cloud on-premise, but also we have data sources like the files coming in, web services, other than the on-premise databases, right? This is the main challenge in the current world, and the complexity is only ever increasing because there's different kinds of integration that is needed between all of these solutions. The next challenge is mainly about how we can make better and authoritative decision making using all of this data spread across in silos. And this is where we are currently focusing on how we can help, not just with the technology, but also with all the solutions that are available from SAP, for this particular authoritative decision making. As you can see, let's see with an example. Whenever you're trying to replicate the data from all of these different sources into a particular warehouse or any common place where you would like to report on the data, basically you are losing the business context of this data. And this is what we try to make sure that the business context or the business semantics is not lost when you are handling the data in different places. And that is very important in the whether you talk about operational reporting, analytical reporting. In every place we need to make sure that the business semantics is not lost. To show this with an example, if most of you have been working with SAP or S/4HANA, you would see this as a very relevant example. You can see here that the current data that we have in the sales data, especially in S/4HANA, we have it spread across different tables, the sales document header item, and let's say all of this data is then combined into different kinds of views, right? Before we can actually get it for reporting purposes. So ideally in an operational system, the data is spread across different tables, but then you will also have to combine them for reporting purposes in different kinds of views where you also build in some business semantics. One very simple example in this case is net value of the sales order items in transaction currency, or let's say in company code currency. So this is some kind of business context that is needed when you do a reporting, right? And this kind of semantics is lost when you're transferring the data from your one record or the operational system to other systems. And looking at this, we talked to the different stakeholders, both from IT and business. And these are the top two requirements from both technology and business people. Especially business people are more interested in the self-service. Instead of depending on the IT teams, they are always looking at self-service capabilities, let it be modeling, reporting, and others. And the next important one is real-time reporting on the data, not for example, depending on a warehouse, which is mainly based on replication, and then they have to wait for the data to replicate. So people are looking for real-time reporting needs, right? So self-service and real-time needs are from the business side. And if we look at from the technology or the IT side, people are looking for centralized governance and simplification of these landscapes. So I know both of them are contradicting, but we need to make sure that how both of them can be met together. And this is where we talk about SAP data and analytics. You would already have seen these particular slides in the earlier sessions from our colleagues about BTP being the technology platform for our intelligent sustainable enterprise. And you can see that this particular BTP foundation has different pillars: the app development, automation, integration, data analytics, and AI. Today, we are going to talk about the data and analytics part. And let's see how we can give data purpose with our data and analytics solutions. So the first and foremost important point is how we can make sure that the data is delivered in a meaningful way to every data consumer. This is called the data democratization, where we can support this with the business data fabric concept that will be explained in the coming slides. Then we are making sure that there's a lot of pre-built content packages that are available from SAP side in different areas, not just at one of the level, but let's say the end-to-end process. Let's say you are talking about getting your data from your S/4HANA as an operational system, and then getting it into the next levels for DataSphere or SAC and other levels. Then end-to-end, we are making sure that there is a business packages that are available, which are called the business accelerators, so that the customers can start, install, and use this. And the next one is about planning, especially. It's instead of having siloed planning, somebody doing a strategic planning at a high level, and then operational planning is done separately. we are talking about the connected planning across all of these different levels. So strategic planning, giving inputs to the operational planning, and then there is a closed loop feedback across these different plannings. So this is our data and analytics portfolio, where you can see that the planning and analytics needs are met by our SAP Analytics Cloud as the solution. Then we have the data management and data warehouse, which is covered by the SAP DataSphere, and the operational databases capabilities is catered by HANA Cloud. This is the high-level view of our stack, data and analytics stack, where you can see that at the bottom of the screen, we have the support from the different hyperscalers or the multi-clouds. So we have the not just SAP data centers, but also the hyperscaler centers which are supported at the infrastructure level. Then we have the HANA Cloud at the database layer. On top of it, we have the business data fabric layer, which is supported by DataSphere. And then for all the planning and analytics needs, we have the Analytics Cloud. And you can see that all of these are supported across the ecosystem. And for example, not just for SAP, but also for non-SAP systems. On the right-hand side, you can see what are the different kinds of data sources we are allowing to connect to these different solutions on the right side. And on the left side, you can see how we can cater to different kinds of user personas across these different layers. Now, the next important thing is about how we can make sure that there's governance throughout the data lifecycle. And for this, we have different kinds of concepts. For example, if we talk about data lineage or the data profiling or the data exploration, we have the data cataloging functionality. There is extensive data integration capabilities using the BTP integration suite, and also the native integration capabilities in each of these tools. At data storage capabilities like tiering, persistency, and multimodal platform capabilities, they are supported at HANA level, which will be explained later. And we also have the data preparation, the quality, and how to make sure that the data has good quality, and transformations, how you can make your data more, how you can model your data using better semantics. All of this is also possible in, let's say, at the DataSphere level or Analytics Cloud. And finally, we can make sure that this data can be shared across the company using the data marketplace and other concepts. And analytics and planning is the most important one when it comes to the end users. And this is where not just the traditional BI capabilities, but we also have the enterprise planning and documented analytics capabilities. So this is possible with the pre-built business content that we are delivering. So you can see here on the left side, it is not only about SAP business content, but we also have partnered with a lot of our colleagues, with a lot of our ecosystem, and you can see a lot of partner business content is also available, and we also make it available to via our tools. With this, let me start off explaining about SAP Analytics Cloud, so that you understand what are its capabilities and what you can achieve using this tool. So any kind of data and analytics solution, we really look at a closed loop decision making system and how it can be supported. So for example, the end users or the business users come up and ask, okay, what can I do about this particular reporting need and all of that, right? So we should make sure that different use cases are catered using our tools. It could be just asking the tool with some natural language questions on how the data is spread across in your systems, or it could be a business analyst who would like to explore the data, or it could be collaborations across the different teams. For example, the HR team, the marketing, sales, and other teams. Or it could be the collaboration between the planning teams. So planning teams would also like to do, for example, a good simulation and forecast before actually getting into the planning process, right? And this they would like to combine with the actuals data coming in from the operational systems. And finally, everybody would like to make sure that all of this can be monitored. So all of these capabilities which are necessary for the insight to action, it is possible using SAP Analytics Cloud with the different capabilities possible in SAC. Now let's look at it. From a casual information worker to the power user, we have different kinds of tooling. For example, for the casual user who would just like to type in a question and get some kind of a answer, we have the just task integration that is done, and this is coming soon for all the customers. It is not yet available. Then we have the data exploration capabilities for the business users or the business analysts. This is the data analyzer capability. And then on the for the experienced user or the power user, we have a possibility to create altogether stories from scratch. So these are the different personas that we support. On a high level, this is the overall architecture of SAP Analytics Cloud. You can see that it supports BI, augmented analytics, and planning capabilities. And this is supported at the bottom by all the different platform services in terms of connectivity, modeling, data preparation, lifecycle management, translation, and we also have a lot of APIs and SDKs that can be consumed externally. Finally, all of them can also be accessed via the catalog or the centralized portal, and then they are also supported on the mobile app. And for those of the finance and other interested users who also would like Excel-based work, we also have the MS Office integration in our tool. When we look at the BI capabilities, especially, if there is a need that you would like to build your own data models and prepare your data sets within SAC, that is also possible using the data modeling tool. And after this, let's say you have some unexplored data sets which you would like to explore, then we have the data analyzer functionality, which has come in, and it is really liked by many of our customers. In addition to that, we also support a lot of augmented analytics in terms of using predictive capabilities and others. There are certain predefined predictive capabilities that are already made available in the tool that can be used. So all of these capabilities, our strategy and direction is that we would like to make sure that the SAP Analytics Cloud is not just used on a need basis, but we would like to make sure that this is integrated with all SAP solutions and business processes. For example, especially with all our cloud products, let it be S/4HANA Cloud or SuccessFactors, or it could be Ariba, Concur, Fieldglass, and many of this. Our clear strategy is that we make sure that this is available as the embedded analytics in all of these cloud products, so that within your operational systems, you could also exploit the usage of analytics using SAC. So right now, it is already available in some of the solutions like S/4HANA, SuccessFactors, certain modules, and a few others. For example, IBP and others. For the rest of them, it is coming soon. So this is just a preview on how you can have SAC as the analytics tool for all these different intelligent enterprise cases. Coming to the planning capabilities, yes, like I said earlier, for the enterprise planning, we don't want siloed planning. We wanted to make sure that all the individual plannings can be integrated and linked together so that there is an end-to-end planning capability. And this is possible, or this is supported using the different capabilities in our SAC. Again, it could be more about collaboration capabilities. Unlike the manual planning where you do it in an Excel or other tools, and then you actually send it across via email or others, that is not necessary anymore. You can use the collaboration capability in our tool and make sure all of the collaboration is, and the auditing is also captured within the system on whatever changes are happening at the planning level. And to automate some of these planning processes, you can make sure that the prediction capability is used, and this predicted data can then be suggested as the planned data. And finally, you can do different kinds of planning at different different levels. And on the right side, you can see that there is this value driver tree, which is a very good concept where you can actually do a lot of simulations in your scenario plannings. Now, how do we make sure that this is possible? This is because not just financials planning, but let's say if we are talking about sales, marketing, or supply chain planning, you can still have your individual planning scenarios. It is all about tying them up together and making sure, let's say you have the HR planning and you have an expense that is coming out of the HR planning to the new headcount. How can we now pass this output of this HR planning or the workforce planning as the input for my cost planning within the next level, right? So this is the integration that we talk when we look at extended planning and analytics. So this diagram clearly depicts how you can have your regular operational systems with the different business processes like hire to retire in HR, or it could be lead to cash, source to pay, or design to operate. How you can get this data and make sure that you have not just your strategic plans, but also the individual finance workflows and other planning scenarios using the XP&A business accelerators that we are providing from SAC side. And then not just the planning within SAC, you can also make sure that these particular plan data is also retracted back into the business execution systems, right? So this is the end-to-end capability, which is possible already in some of our business contents like the workforce planning in success factors. And we are also coming up with more and more extended planning and analysis packages where this can be done. And the good part about these business packages is that you don't have to purely depend on SAP or the partner content. If you have some business differentiator use cases, you can also create all these models by yourself from scratch. Of course, it's going to take a little bit of time, but if it's a business differentiator for you, I'm sure you will go for it. And not just the analytics cloud, but we also talk about how we make sure that both SAP Analytics Cloud and DataSphere are integrated well together. So we go hand in hand when we talk about these end-to-end use cases. And this is our current integration journey between these two tools so that there is a seamless integration between these tools. Like is mentioned earlier, there's a lot of industry business content that is necessary for the different industries, and we are providing a lot of this across different lines of business and industry. And if you can go and explore this content at our particular analytics business content link, and this is also now available for DataSphere, and Abdul will talk about it later. But I would like to make sure that if some of you are also interested, please start building content for us wherever you see the opportunity. With this, I would like to share my screen and show you a small demo. Let me stop this sharing.
Not sure if it's the right time, but maybe, while you bring up the demo, there are a couple of questions that are on the chat that I have. So first one was around how about bringing SAP SuccessFactors data into the DataSphere, if I'm not wrong.
Okay, maybe let Abdul cover the DataSphere topic and others, and we can take the questions towards the end. Yeah.
Okay.
We have not yet covered the DataSphere topic.
Oh, sorry. Right. I think I misunderstood it. Yeah.
Yeah. So let me share the. Can you please confirm that you are able to see my screen?
Yes.
Perfect. So I would like to give you a very quick demo on the SAP Analytics Cloud. So this is the cloud tool, and the moment you have a subscription to it, especially I have a full access to this as an admin, so I can show you that in our left panel here, you can see these are all the capabilities of our tool, starting from self-service stories that can be created. But let's say if, for the users who would like to do complex stories, which has scripting and buttons enabled and all of that, you can use the analytical apps. For the data exploration use cases, we can use the data analyzer. We also have the digital boardroom capability. You can build in data actions, modeler, and for the planning use cases, we have the allocations, multi-actions, calendars, and all, and we also have the predictive scenarios. So I think I have given a link to the trial license in my slides. You can go there and explore all these capabilities later. Maybe a few capabilities might not be supported in the trial license, but that is, I think, but if you have your own subscription to SSC, I think you can explore all of that. In addition, we also have the security in terms of users, teams, administration, roles assignment, and how the data changes are happening in the system. We have the transport capabilities, and we have the connections. Maybe I will just click on the connections and show you what are the varied types of connections we are supporting. For example, here, we support not just the acquired connections, which is the data replication, but we also support the live connections. At this point in time, the live connections are mainly for the SAP data sources, as you can see here, S4HANA, BW, DataSphere, and others, right? In addition to that, we also have a connectivity to open connectors via the BTP. So whatever open connectors are supported there, you can see that a lot of other open connectivity is also possible here. So this is on a very high level. Let me now show you for inspiration some of the business content that we have delivered. So this is the extended planning and analysis launch landing page, where for the planners, we can make sure that these are all the different activities that they know that they need to do. For example, before starting any planning process, you would like to have a corporate overview. Then you can click on the corporate overview, and then what you can do is 1 minute. Yeah, you can see that this is the corporate overview screen that you can design using SAC, where the data is coming in from different sources. In the center, you have the data coming in from finance with the relevant KPIs like the net revenue, operating income, and others. Then we have on the left side data coming in from sales and marketing. On the right side, we have data coming in from workforce and then the production data. So this is the kind of overviews screen you can have at your corporate level, and then you can have the individual stories also. In this case, let's say we want to look at the P&L scenario, right? Profit and loss. You can come up and design a nice structure like this, the P&L structure. And I would like to show you a short demo here. For example, we are looking at the sales revenue. And what I would do, I would switch to the sales planning here, right? You can see that this is a kind of a sales planning that we have created, where you can see the different KPIs at the quarter level here and it is also having a comparison with last year's, right? You can see the actuals versus budget comparison or across years comparison and everything. And with these kinds of insights, it is very easy for the planners to do their planning. So we also show them what's the budget for last year, let's say earlier years like 2022. And then assuming that we have a new product that is getting launched like this cross bike scenario, and using the predictive scenario, we can already propose these values. And if let's say the planner decides that no, I would, since this is a new product, I would like to increase my planning value, we can always change this. And now you can see that it is calculating this value and it has shown how these values are changing to the next levels. And you can say the value has changed from 1715 to 1725. And what we can do in this case is that 1 minute. I will let me go to the previous screen. Yeah. So what I'm going to do is that I will just do a refresh of the data from here. And what is happening in this case is that the sales data that I have adjusted in my planning, that is going to come and get reflected in my finance data here, right? You can see now 1725 has changed here and is showing how the entire structure is getting changed here. So this is one cool example where we can have end-to-end planning processes together with reporting capabilities also. In addition, we can have simulation capabilities like this using the value driver tree, where, for example, you have decided some drivers like the price index. And let's say the price index, I would like to change this based on the market situation. And then I would like to see how this is changing. I can also do that. So once this simulation happens, it will show how this particular changed price index is affecting the rest of the average prices, how it is affecting gross sales, and how it is affecting net revenue, right? So this kind of simulation capabilities can also be done in our tool. So this is a very simple example I showed you. And I would say that imagination is your limit to come up with different planning and reporting scenarios using SAC. I think with this, I would stop here and then hand over to Abdul for the next demo or the next presentation. Thank you all.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Abdul Ghafoor Mohammed, and I am a Senior Product Manager in the SAP Data and Analytics space, dealing with data management solutions, primarily data intelligence and SAP Data Sphere, right? So again, a warm welcome from my side to the session, and hopefully you're liking what you're seeing. So we are going through the three solutions that we mentioned in the agenda as well. So let's quickly jump into SAP Data Sphere. So SAP Data Sphere is a successor.
Abdul, I think
Yes.
we can see two slides at the same time. So I think you'll have to swap your displays.
Oh, is it?
Now, perfect. You can go ahead.
Give me 1 second. Can you see it right now?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So coming to SAP Data Sphere, it's a comprehensive data service built on the SAP Business Technology Platform, what's known as SAP BTP. It's the foundation for a business data fabric. So many of you in the data management space will be very familiar with this. It equips organizations to deliver meaningful data to every data consumer with a business context and business logic intact, right? So too often we have been stuck in the old school way of bringing data to the processing, and when big data kicked off, we took the processing to the data, and we now are getting into what is called HTAP, right? HTAP from the OLAP and OLTP worlds, we are merging into or converging into this HTAP space, right? So DataSphere provides capabilities from data ingestion to self-service data access across both SAP and non-SAP data. So I will cover at a high level what DataSphere can do, and let you go with a few resources and do a little bit of a technical demo as well. And we'll take questions after the HANA Cloud session as well, right? So why Business Data Fabric? Many of you might be wondering why this is needed. And the thing is, there are 4 benefits to a business data fabric that that is given to a business, right? Self-service data access, comprehensive data governance, because enterprises want to ensure that their data is, the data quality is high, it's governed well, it's not dependent on a few employees churning in and out. then there is this real-time data needs. You typically see many enterprises trying to augment their data management scenarios today with ML scenarios, with the new analytics available, etc. Right? So you want to be able to help the different personas as well make almost real-time improvements. And lastly, a simplified data landscape that reduces costs and technical debt while continuing to maximize their current investments. Many enterprises have spent millions and they want the ROI of those investments to last them a few decades, if not longer than that, right? So what makes it a business data fabric versus a standard data fabric is that it keeps the business context and logic intact, as I said. And we want to also leverage prepackaged accelerators, additional content that are developed by partners and customers as well. So what Jitendra shared there as well is a nice extension point built into our solutions. And we will see on the system how seamless it is to switch between DataSphere and Analytics Cloud as well, right? So as I said, this is the foundation that enables the business data fabric, DataSphere is. We handle all the modeling, the cataloging and distribution of your semantically rich data. We help you integrate with SAP applications and even non-SAP systems to federate data across your most important data stores or data solutions, whether it's from warehouses or lake houses or data lakes or other data governance platforms, right? So this is where we are trying to bring in a unique USP as well. So we are one of the major shifts we have seen since we announced SAP DataSphere back in March of 2023 is that is an approach that we are taking to partnering with an open data ecosystem. We have a lot of leading technology vendors that we are partnering with. And this actually helps bring in the best of both worlds, both the SAP and the non-SAP world. The first set of these leading vendors who we are partnered with include Collibra, Confluent, Databricks, DataRobot, and then around Sapphire, around the May timeframe, we announced a partnership with Google as well during our annual event called Sapphire. So this basically strengthens our business data fabric as a new industry standard for an interoperable data strategy. So each of these partners brings in very unique strengths with their ecosystems. Databricks, for example, integrates SAP data with the complete business context with their data lakehouse platform. Collibra pretty much helps you future-proof your data governance, privacy, and compliance initiatives. Most of you might have heard of that as a very leading player in the metadata space, right? Confluent sets your data in motion with real-time event and streaming data. You must have used a lot of their queuing technologies and streaming technologies from Confluent. And DataRobot empowers organizations to leverage the augmented intelligence with AutoML, right? And recently, what we announced with Google as well is that we help you use the best of both worlds. Google is very keen to tap into SAP data. We together we bring in insights from data and AI from any big data and algorithms with the BigQuery platform. And we are going to have more native connectivity. For example, we'll have Google BigQuery as a data source supported by Q4 of this year as well, right? So that gives you a lot more powerful capabilities than if SAP were to go alone in this and with the lack of partners, right? Versus the way it's set up right now. So DataSphere basically provides a lot of capabilities for a complete data fabric architecture. So for example, you have business semantics, keeping the business context and logic intact by delivering a semantically rich data layer, data integration capabilities, like you must have heard from the other SAP data management portfolio solutions, data services, SDI, data intelligence, InfoSteward, etc. Right? So we are trying to give you basically let you complement all of these solutions along with DataSphere as well. And things are converging to that effect. And then the next one is analytical data modeling, where you have rich modeling capabilities to solve the complex modeling tasks. Space management is a key feature in DataSphere. You can maybe even look at things that your colleagues have shared from other spaces. Let's say somebody has to share something to the marketing space so that they can make use of it. And some of you who might have used warehousing solutions and DWC or data warehouse cloud must have seen this in action earlier. Connectivity is very key. We made a lot of strides in connectivity with data intelligence, and we want to carry that forward and bring in some key technologies like, for example, replication flows, etc., into and the full-fledged replication capabilities with a lot of sources supported into DataSphere as well. Like we did, we embarked on that in data intelligence. Openness is another key thing that a lot of SAP customers like. So we continue to invest in that space. Data marketplace, as Jitendra briefly showed as well, is where you can enrich the data projects with external data products as well, bring it into your space, and then maybe integrate with that data or use that for analytics, etc. And we don't want customers to lose their investments in BW, so we have capabilities to allow them to leverage that with the technology called SAP BW Bridge. With respect to metadata, we have cataloging and governance, and that is something that's evolving here as well, as it was coming in from what we had in one of the earlier solutions like InfoSteward. We are bringing in a lot more capabilities in terms of cataloging and governance into DataSphere. And lastly, with analytics and planning, so we have made it very seamless to switch between the two solutions, SAP DataSphere and SAP Analytics Cloud. And we let you pick up the baton where we have finished modeling and deploying your data flows, for example, in DataSphere, and then you can switch over to Analytics Cloud and build stories or augment your stories, etc., so that you can use it for dashboarding, reporting, etc. Right? And of course, we have all the capabilities of SSE intact that you could use with DataSphere here. So this is at a high level, the component structure in SAP DataSphere. You have the connectivity, the spaces, etc. at the bottom. And you have this particular connectivity in spaces here. You have a data marketplace layer, you have a data layer, and a business layer here. And this is provided, of course, by SAP Analytics Cloud. So you have over here, you have the business contact and the catalog as well, right? And then let me quickly show you things that we do to unleash the power of SAP DataSphere here. We allow you to access authoritative data, to accelerate time to value by automatically reusing these definitions and associations. What we want to do, we want to help you enrich all your data projects by harmonizing all this data. Your data is obviously heterogeneous, right? Every enterprise, it seems like many analysts have said, every enterprise, the average enterprise has data in about 6 to 8 cloud storages even, right? Across storages and warehouses. And that is, you cannot really homogenize that at all. That's going to stay like that forever. What you want to do is provide access to the enterprise across those things and seamlessly integrate the data. So we want to help simplify the data landscape and access all the data across hybrid and cloud environments, no matter where it resides, whether it's in cloud storages, whether it's in warehouses, data lakes, lake houses, etc. And this is what we want to be able to help customers do with DataSphere. So a few key features here. Again, it's prohibitive to go through the whole thing in detail here, so I'll just give you a high-level introduction to a few features here. connectivity. We help you combine data from different sources, SAP and non-SAP, both on-prem and cloud. Space management, as I mentioned a little earlier, you can connect your global and local data in a single solution without really creating another copy of the data. That's always prohibitive, right? So you want to be able to ensure that the data quality is met. If not, you can create rules, etc., improve the quality and label it so that your sister organization or your peer LOBs within the organizations can use it, and you don't want them to reinvent the wheel, right? Is this very powerful modeling features. We have no code data modeling. We give you graphical data modeling and intelligent data mapping capabilities in DataSphere, and pretty much giving you a lot of capabilities without code, using pretty much drag and drop, doing joins, projections, aggregations, and the like, right? We have a semantic layer where we help you connect the data with the business layer here. And many people want to be, like many technical people want to use the data builder, whereas many business people want to use the business builder as well in SAP DataSphere. We have what's called the data marketplace, which allows you bring in external data in within just a few clicks, not exhaustive projects, right? And enrich your own data with additional information. You can bring in those data, the external data, deploy it into your space, either through remote tables or local tables, or you can even bring in standalone CSVs, etc., bring it into the space, and then use that in your integration needs, right? There's an openness, as we said, to a lot of SAP solutions, and over the last few years, we have ensured that we maintain this capability to plug in external tooling for data integration, data modeling, and that's also one of the key reasons for us to partner with the handful of partners I mentioned a little earlier, BW Bridge and Hybrid, to continue to get your investments right on the past investments, SAP BW, whatever flavor you have, BW for HANA or BW, etc., right? And advanced analytics. Here we give you powerful integration with SAP Analytics Cloud, and an add-in for Microsoft Office as well. Some of you might be familiar with that already. And this is where we are trying to give you the best of both worlds, the analytics side as well as the data orchestration side, right? So here are a few resources. If some of you are new to DataSphere, you could use perhaps a guided experience here. You can go there, sign up, you get a 30-day option to try out SAP DataSphere in a guided experience. There are some lessons that you can walk through. There's an Open SAP course as well. I will share that link in a bit. It's also on the deck. I will share that resource. I'll open that for you in a bit and show you that as well. There's a repeat of that Open SAP course happening next week. Actually, it's starting September 5th, I think. You could sign up for that and go through the learning content, and there's also a hands-on section there for those of you who are interested in trying out that. There's plenty of resources here with respect to best practices. Go to a community, you can influence some of the features if you as a customer or partner are looking forward to certain important features or something that's lacking in SAP DataSphere, etc. Right? So let me quickly go to a system and show you that how this looks like, and you can still see my screen, right? Can you guys see my screen? Yeah, okay. So this is where the DataSphere trial is. So you can get a free 90-day trial as well if you're interested, or you can start with the guided experience and go from there. Then I mentioned the Open SAP course. So this is starting September 5th, which is next week. It runs for a month, and you could actually enroll in it already. And you could go through this content. There's also a hands-on section here where you could get your hands dirty on the tool, right? And then this is how an SAP data sphere system looks like. So you could come in here. If here, in this case, what I have done is let me go home first. You get a view of a bunch of resources here, what you've recently done, you know, some of the blogs that have been recently published, etc. Right here on the hamburger menu, you can see that you have a bunch of options here. Again, depends on what roles you have. If you have additional roles, let's say, for example, if you have a catalog admin role, you can see additional options under catalog. So I can go to the catalog here, maybe search based on certain sales, right? Um, so I can say sales pipeline, etc. I can bookmark those. I can filter those, etc. I can maybe even, yeah, do that, play with that if I'm interested in doing that. But let me go back and show you a bunch of other options in terms of data management. So typically you would come into a data builder. So come in here, you either work with a local table. So here are a bunch of things that I have been using here. I can import a CSV here. I can import entities, remote tables, etc. If I want to, I can create new tables, go and pick from different sources, etc. Right? Um, I can create new views, pick from either something that's already in my repository. For example, I just recently created replication flow where I replicated the London tube stations here into this table. So I could use that, or I want to, let's say, go to um, go and pick up something from my one of the data sources that I have defined in my connection. So I could go to HANA Cloud, go pick up one of the tables that I am interested in. Maybe I could just define it as a remote table and use it in my data flow, right? So how do I view or look at those connections? I can go here. I can discard this. I'm not playing with that right now. So I go to the connections and maybe move this over. Okay, so here I can see there are 3 connections defined, and I can also use open connectors. So just for learning purposes, I could look at the parameters that are available on the HANA Cloud connection. So this is how you could connect it. And also it tells you whether data flows and replication flows are allowed for this particular connection, right? So this is how you could do this. And yes, I want to leave this. And how would I create a connection? I have a list of connections, and I think there is already a question about some connections. So I can choose from a lot of connections here. Somebody was asking about FTP and FTP connections here as well, right? So you could do this, create that, plug in your server details, etc., and define that, right? So coming back to the data builder, you could bring in some of those things. Again, it shows you a variety of options. Let's say you're running certain tasks here or application flows or data flows, and then you want to be able to monitor those. You can just hop over to the data integration monitor. So it might show some of the recent things that I ran here, right? So you can see here that in my flow monitor, I should be able to see replication flows. So there's a replication flow that was completed less than 24 hours ago. And there's also capabilities to define data access. Space management is here, as I was explaining a little earlier in the slides. You can also create things like configure database access. You want to be able to, let's say, create time data, play with that, etc. You want to transport, import, or export content, you could do that. This is also from the content network that is common across many of our data and analytics solutions, right? So you have a lot of options here. So And then you could also come back here and look at what's in my repository, etc. Right? So let me quickly come back to my. Okay, there's one thing I forgot to show you here. So let me quickly share the last thing before I come back to the slide deck. So here you can seamlessly switch between DataSphere and Data Analytics Cloud, SAP Analytics Cloud by using the app switcher at the top right corner here. So I'm right now in DataSphere, so I can just switch to Analytics, and that's what I'm plugged into now SAP Analytics Cloud, right? So it's as seamless as that. And my menu has changed, hamburger menu has changed. So I come into my landing page or landing screen of Analytics Cloud. So let me come back to my PowerPoint. And yeah, so that's a brief introduction to DataSphere that I wanted to give you, and hopefully you guys had a good introduction there. Now I would like to hand it over to Amit for HANA Cloud, and then after that we will take some questions.
Thank you, Abdul. So maybe I can share my screen and get going.
Sure.
Okay, quick check. You can see my screen. Can someone please confirm if my screen is visible?
Yes, it's visible.
Okay, so my name is Amit Pathak. I work for HANA Cloud development team for last 15 years. And I'll cover a brief overview of HANA Cloud in this context. So till now, we have seen in this talk two different applications with SSE and DWC, which are bringing a value to the data, which is either in SAP data or non-SAP data. Now, this talk is around how this data gets stored in the BTP HANA Cloud, and how it's persisted, how it's processed, and what are the capabilities around that. So at nutshell, SAP HANA Cloud is a database as a service solution, which is tailored to serve individual scenarios which an application would need, while providing multiple storage and federation options, which are like key to integration of the data and optimization of the cost. Now, while providing database as a service, it is quite flexible service which reduces your efforts and cost on operations, security, and maintenance, because many of these are managed by HANA Cloud, wherein a customer doesn't need to worry about upgrade downgrades, the maintenance of the service, the security policies, and so on and so forth. So this greatly helps to reduce the cost of operating the service, and then eventually the TCO. And the most important aspect of the service is it's a future-proof database product service, which is cloud native, with a lot of cloud native qualities like scalability, resiliency, and a lot of innovation getting built to cater to new application requirement, optimizations, and using the cloud hyperscaler capabilities. So this is like a right path to persist and process the data in the SAP BTP. Now coming to the architecture. So SAP HANA Cloud kind of sits below the application layer. And if you can see on the top, we have SAP Analytics Cloud and DataSphere we just saw. Besides that, it also supports other SAP business application and even the custom third-party applications. Now, it sits below the application tier and runs two important services. First is the HANA database, which I think many of you would already know is a state-of-art in-memory HTAB database system, which provides very fast analytics while providing a good transactional processing for the operational capabilities. And additionally, in the HANA Cloud, we also have a data lake associated with the HANA database, which provides relational analytical capabilities on large amount of data. Also, a data could be on the files and then relational capabilities on the files. So that increases the volume capability HANA Cloud can handle beyond the HANA database itself. Now, coming to the silent features of the HANA Cloud, which are key to the current challenges of data processing. The first and foremost is multi-model. The HANA Cloud is a multi-model database. In the today's world, data is not always a relational or coming in the strict database formats. So data can come from any origin. It could be web, it could be IoT, it could be graph data. And ability to store such a data in optimal way and provide processing capability on those is key to building diverse applications. SAP HANA Cloud is a multi-model by design, and it provides support for all these kind of database data types. Now, once such a data is available and stored, there are advanced analytical capabilities, which includes standard relational analytical capability. Along with that, machine learning, information modeling, and predictive analysis. And some of that you have already seen on the SSE aspect. And all that is kind of supported in HANA Cloud, which enriches you to build more and more powerful analytical applications on top of HANA Cloud. Now, switching back from the application paradigm to the operations. So first and foremost is the tier storage. It provides a tier storage that you have already seen. So we have an in-memory and then data lakes, which kind of optimizes the cost for the end user. I'll go into a little bit of the details of this in my later slide. And key in the cloud is the integration, because there is no single source of a data which hosts all the relevant data for the business. You could have a systems which are HR systems, IT systems, and so on and so forth. So integration is a quite important aspect. And HANA Cloud out of the box provides smart integration capabilities to connect the data sources in either the replicated or the federated way. I'll also cover a little bit more details of this later. So in a nutshell, this is like a key component in the BTP to store and process the data of various volumes, and provide the operational, meaning the transactional, as well as the analytical capabilities, and now even the machine learning capabilities on top on such a data. So that's the overall architecture and how the HANA Cloud fits into the overall picture. Okay, so I talked about the data pyramid in my previous in the previous slide. So a little bit more details here. So HANA Cloud is built on the one of the key concepts built in the HANA Cloud is a data pyramid. The idea behind this is to say that not businesses have a lot of data, and not all the data is equally important and hot. And on the other side, customers do want to optimize the price for the data. So the tier storage is in that light. So at the top of the tier storage, we have SAP in-memory, SAP HANA in-memory, which is very fast and provides like a real-time analytical capability. However, because being in-memory, it might cost a little more. So then the next layer comes is the relational engine. Okay, so in the next layer comes is the native storage extension, which is the disk-based processing inside HANA engine itself, which do provide reasonable fast analytics, but reduces the cost because the data is not necessarily have to be always in memory. Now, first two tiers are completely within HANA service. Then the next tier comes is the data lake layer. In the data lake layer, the topmost is the relational engine, where you can do analytics on the cold data and can host up to hundreds of terabytes of data. And the subsequent to that is the files. There is a HANA Cloud Data Lake file service, which is a part of data lake solution itself, which can store like petabytes of data on object store and allows like a cold access to that data. Now, if you see in the pyramid, the performance increases as you move from bottom to top. The price decreases from top to bottom, and then amount of volume that can be stored increases from top to bottom. Right? So this kind of essentially provides you a way to store the data at a relevant storage, optimizing on your performance and price for performance needs rather. Okay. So this is a key concepts inside HANA Cloud to optimize on cost of the data and support large volumes of the data. Okay, so I kind of touched upon briefly in my previous slide on this. So HANA Cloud comes in form of two different services. First one is the HANA Cloud HANA database, which is a powerful in-memory database supporting both OLTP and OLAP, which is HTAP technology, and is a multimodal engine. So you can use this for your operational purposes, fast analytic, the real-time analytics purposes. The other one is the data lake service, which is the data lake relational engine, as well as HANA data lake files, where a cold data can be stored, and non-real-time analytics or like a slow analytics, or I would rather use on-demand analytics, can be performed on such a data. Right? So these are two different services come as a part of HANA Cloud, and when you configure or when you provision your HANA Cloud, you can choose which services you want. You might just want HANA Cloud, or you might want both or one of them, right? And the service will be started like accordingly. You can change your choice afterwards as well. Now that's like a HANA Cloud is a service in a nutshell. It has lots of capabilities. I'm trying to explain a few in interest of time here. And there are many more than what this slide is covering. The first and foremost, HANA Cloud is multi-cloud, like any other service in BTP, which allows you the choice to select the hyperscaler as well as the data center, which is which kind of suits your end-to-end stack, including applications and many other constraints that you might have. The next one is the elasticity. It is a key cloud capability which exists in HANA Cloud. So elasticity exists in two ends. One is the storage end, and other is the compute dimension. On the storage dimension, we have already seen that the data can be stored in memory or native storage extension or in the data lakes, and which vary in terms of amount of data that can store, and like petabytes of data can be stored on HANA Cloud in that manner. On the compute side, the compute power of HANA either can be increased vertically, meaning the same HANA Cloud can start very small and increase its memory and CPU quickly to a larger size, or it can be a horizontal compute as well through a concept called as elastic compute nodes, wherein additional HANA instances can be spawned on the same data to perform faster analytics on top of this, the read-only access to the data. So elasticity is built in both storage and compute tier dimension, and for the compute dimension, it could be vertical and horizontal. This provides you a way wherein you can start small and grow on both ends as your business data grows on demand. And you can scale down on the compute side if you're not having a high load on your systems. And that helps to reduce the cost dramatically, and you don't have to over provision, it's all on demand. Next, key features of any database system is the resiliency or backups or availability. So there are like standard backups available to object store, which can remain like for a long duration with a very little cost. So backup kind of comes out of box. Besides that, the HANA Cloud provides multiple availability through replications. So now the replication can happen within a single availability zone of a cloud provider, or it could be across availability zones. That increases availability of database service and eventually your end-to-end stack. Even when the disasters or downtimes happen, it could be planned or unplanned, but it increases end of the day availability of the data to your applications. So this is one of the key cloud capabilities required in any database systems, and HANA Cloud provides that. The next key concept is virtualization and replication. I think you would realize in the SSC and DWC presentations that data do not exist in one place in cloud. If you have to build meaningful application, you have to have a capability to integrate data from various sources. HANA Cloud as well at the bottom layer provides capability to kind of federate or replicate the data seamlessly through its unique concept, which is called as Fabric Virtual Table, which allows you to configure remote access to the data in either the replication way or the federation way. And this is kind of hidden underneath, like what is the best way to access the data. If your data is like very small and very often accessed, a replication probably is a better way. If your data is very rarely accessed or very large, then probably you may not want to replicate, but you just want to probably federate for few queries that those are accessing the data. All that is kind of hidden under something called as Fabric Virtual Table, which provides a very seamless access to the remote data. The data sources could be, again, SAP data sources or external cloud sources as well. Functionality might vary between those two, but more or less the virtual access to the remote data is provided. And more importantly, for the on-premise migrations or on-premise hybrid scenarios, you could use the Fabric Virtual Table to connect the data from on-premise to cloud as well. So this is also a key capability to enable application building and data or making the data available for the applications in the HANA Cloud. Security, yeah, it's a key aspect, and there is a clear demarcation between what are the security aspects which customer need to manage and what SAP manages. So at high level, SAP manages security operations, encryption, and system auditing. All the data is like fully encrypted, and all the operations performed by the SAP system on the data are all secured. On the customer side, it provides customer an ability to audit the data, anonymize, mask, create right set of authorizations, and user management and authentication. So these are like the topics which customer want to own. They are provided to customer, and the other aspects which are as a service has to own are managed by SAP and HANA Cloud. Finally, the migration. There could be lots of databases on premise, and one would need help to do migration. So SAP HANA Cloud provides a migration service, which does self-service based migration, has a very good migration pre-checker to make sure the compatibility of the database when it moves to HANA Cloud. Then it performs the catalog migration from HANA Cloud HANA on-premise to HANA Cloud, and then finally the data migration. So which eases customer to move the data from on-premise HANA system to cloud system. So I just covered a few capabilities, but there are more. So if you are interested in trying out a HANA system and like put your data into it either in memory or in relational data lakes, you could go for a free trial, and there are like very good tutorial missions available, and you can always stay tuned with the various events. Those happens on the HANA Cloud side on these links, which are provided in the PPT. And of course, there are many more learnings over the web for that, and some of the links for those are here. And I guess with that, I think the prepaid content, I think we have covered the prepaid contents, and maybe we can open up for the question and answers. And I'll hand over to Mukesh for the further things.
Mukesh, can you hear us?
Sorry, I was speaking on mute. So even after having done this for so many years, still end up speaking on mute. So thank you so much. So I saw that there are already some questions on the chat, which Jitendra has already answered. So now maybe it's the time for us to open it up for Q&A. So if anyone has any question, either you can put it on the chat or maybe you ask, unmute yourself and ask the question. I think there was one question which I got as a private message, and that was related to SAC, if I'm not wrong. Suresh, correct me if I'm wrong. So your question around around bringing SAP SuccessFactors data was to bring it in SAC or in DataSphere? Suresh, you can unmute yourself and maybe extend the question and provide some context.
Yeah, now this is related to SuccessFactors, where there are some stories which are built there, but overall we still see there is a scope to improvise further. Okay, if we have to do that, should that be through SAC or DataSphere? So what is the roadmap which SAP is looking at? How customers have to extend their data? How do we improvise on the visualization perspective?
Maybe I can answer that. See, generally, we already have embedded SAC in SuccessFactors in some of the modules. I know that it's not there in all the modules of SF, but then there is also plans to have enterprise connectivity into SuccessFactors. So I think with that, it is going to be much easier. But the moment we talk about cross-application analytics, I think that is where you should definitely look after DataSphere as the platform, where you would have to build in consolidated data marts and other scenarios. Maybe if Abdul, you would like to add anything from DataSphere point of view?
Yeah, just thanks for bringing that up. So I just shared my screen. Here's the Roadmap Explorer. So if you're looking at something specific, you can always come back here. So right now I put in a filter here for SAP DataSphere. You could also filter here based on certain topics or industries, etc., and look at that. And in general, what we are seeing is a convergence of management data and as well as analytics as well from SAP, right? Convergence into a unified solution that might take, I don't know, maybe a few years, just so to say, right? But at the moment, we are trying to make the transition as easy as possible for our customers and users. So you will see the lines blur a little bit based on which solution I am using, etc. It might be due to that convergence, right? So hope that helps.
Yeah, now understand from a roadmap perspective, from an user experience perspective, now when I look from a SuccessFactors point of view, okay, and the usability, right? So today, all the transactions are happening there, but in terms of reporting or getting the analytics out of it, we have little struggle. Okay.
Yeah, one of the things there as well is that what we have to keep in mind is some of these solutions are disjointed in a way. So SuccessFactors was an independent solution before its acquisition by SAP. So we ourselves have enabled a good amount of integration so that users can bring in that data into our, for example, our analytics portfolio, etc. Right? So we give you different kinds of connectivity so that data can, it's not like magic where we can, just because it's an SAP solution, it's got a backdoor to solution like SAP, SAC or DataSphere, etc. Right? So we still have to build this via the open standards anyway, right? So that is, we empathize with that as well. So our key focuses there are, yeah, go ahead, Nilesh. Nilesh, you had a follow-up? Hello?
Sorry, I think, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So So yeah, so that's the integration is always a challenge. So again, the link that I shared with respect to connectivity, so that's continually being enhanced from DataSphere side as well. And you keep a tab on that and also come back to the connectivity topic here on the roadmap to check if something that you're interested in is coming up. Like I mentioned earlier on the call, the Google BigQuery connectivity is being delivered in Q4 this year, and so on, right? So that's one of the key areas of investments that SAP is taking up as a priority. Jitendra, I think you want to share something.
Yeah, and to add on top of that, like I mentioned, currently in success factors, as much as I remember, people analytics and learning management systems, these are the modules where embedded SAC is already available as part of success factors. Maybe you should look at this, because that means that then it is directly you are reporting on top of success factors using this embedded SAC. Of course, maybe for the other modules, it is not there, but might be coming in later. The key important point here is that you should always make sure that you are not putting a lot of performance onto your front-end reporting. So if you have a lot of performance intensive data manipulations, data transformations, and all of that, I would still suggest that some of all of these are taken care in a data warehouse and other places, and not loads these activities onto the reporting using SAC. But let's say if you have direct live reporting on the data, of course you can definitely use SAC for that.
Okay, thank you. So one more question. With respect to the final integration, is it possible to do visualization on Power BI? You also talked about integration with some Microsoft Office.
Yeah, so the Microsoft integration, what I talked about is especially for our planning use cases in the finance and others. Many of our planners are more happy with the Excel interface. So from an MS Office integration point of view, currently we have an Excel integration where you can actually access the data from SAC, and then the planners can also use that Excel interface to do the planning related activities there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thanks.
Any other questions on the chat? Any questions?
So it doesn't look like there are any questions. So let's just wait for a minute or so to see if there is any question coming up. Suresh, the recording and the slides will be available on the INDUS online platform. So if anyone doesn't have the link to the platform, or if you've not joined the platform, please do join, because all the recordings going forward and all the slides will be only available on the INDUS online platform that we have invited you all to join.
And maybe I don't know if the participants already have the link to the use cases from the INDUS. I would also like to put that link.
Yeah, so just put that link on the chat, please.
Yeah. Please refer to this link for the use cases, and you can nominate yourself for the use case that you like. And I think based on the use case, you can also use the tools that you have learned in all these over the last few weeks for your use case.
So if you have any use case or if you have any idea that you want to use BTP to build, SAP Labs team has committed that they will support 25 such projects. So just submit your idea or your project using the link here so that we can include you in the 25 projects that we have. So it looks like there are no further questions and we are also close to the time that we have. So thank you everyone for joining in. I hope it was useful, helpful. Thank you, Abdul, Amit, and Jitendra for taking your time. Thank you, Rajiv, for all your support in getting all of this through. With that, thank you so much. Have a good day. Bye-bye.
Thanks, everyone, and good luck
Bye.
with your use cases. Yeah.